you very much, Mr. Basavi, for your time.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you again.
Same here, Mr. Musavi. Mr. Musavi, since we have started talking, and obviously it's been 10 days, you are still in the headlines, one after another. And whatever you're saying is becoming the headlines. And now this whole broadsheet saga
Yes.
turning into some kind of a scandal. This is what the newspapers and the television channels in Pakistan are actually telling the world right now. Having said that, Zafar Ali QC says Kavi Musavi offered him 2 million cut for getting broadsheet money from Imran Khan. Mr. Musavi, how far this is true? Do you know Mr. Zafar Ali QC?
I didn't know Zafar Ali from Adam. Zafar Ali is a friend of a mutual friend. The mutual friend telephoned me, Dr. Kirsten Fuchs, in some considerable excitement and said that Imran Khan's new government's come in power and they are definitely interested in finding assets. And since you are the person who knows how to do these things, and I said, "This I know. I'm the person who knows how to do this. But who are you? And what do you know about this sort of thing?" Well, I can organize a meeting between you and Zafar Ali. I said, "Who is Zafar Ali?" Zafar Ali is some criminal lawyer here. And I said, "Well, Kirsten, you're my friend. Of course, I'm happy to see anybody you want me to see." So he organized a meeting at his house, and this extremely pompous cigar smoking fool came along, and I just began to think, my goodness, these days anybody becomes a QC. But anyway, he made out that he was in touch with the top brass and top people in Pakistan, and my view was fine. If you can do it, do it. I have a claim. At the time, the claim was about $1 billion, and this wasn't just hot air. It was based on the figures that the Joint Investigation Team had submitted to the Supreme Court of Pakistan. And the Supreme Court of Pakistan had the opening statement of the Chief Justice of Pakistan was Nawaz Sharif was reminding him of Don Corleone, the 1960s novel by Mario Puzo of The Godfather. And yeah, and Nawaz Sharif been chucked out, and Imran had just been elected. So there's a lot of excitement. And I took one look at Zafar Ali. I thought, oh God, yes, well, another vulture trying to. But anyway, I was more than happy to see him. Frankly, I'd been at this for, at that time, 16 years, and anybody who could help legally resolve it. He looked like he was a barrister, he was a QC. I'd rather deal with a lawyer rather than the crooks like Anjum Dar or the other people who would try to. So we thought it was a bona fide thing. And he discussed it with me. He said he was flying back to Pakistan, and I said fine. He was going to meet a few people, and he asked me, "Would he get a fee?" I said, "Of course you get a fee. If I claim $850 million, and we've had the hearing at the Quantum hearing, and yeah." He said, "What my fee be?" I said, "What a reasonable fee be, $1-2 million, and I'd be more than happy to do that." I've seen in the press they're trying to spin this as a bribe.
And that's what they're saying is a cut, which was actually his fee.
Of course. It's perfectly legitimate to pay a fee to a lawyer who's trying to resolve an issue. It's, should we say, how Shakespeare put it, much ado about nothing. I mean, it's incredible what newspaper men are capable of doing when they put their mind to spinning something. You know, in the law, they call this a nothing burger. You know, there's nothing in it. You look at it, 2 pieces of bread, there's nothing inside it. Look, if Zafar Ali was a government official, this would be very serious. Yes, but he wasn't a government official. He was a London lawyer who had friends. He was going to fly out there and resolve the problem. And I said, fine. So now they've made out as though a fee is a bribe. No, that's how people make a living. They earn fees. So the press I've just seen today, they're using the word bribe. I mean, I just laugh at the lack of critical capacity of the writers, and they're actually insulting the intelligence of the reader to suggest that a lawyer who's going to settle a matter gets a fee, that's a bribe. In my lexicon, it's not, it's a fee. He was supposed to earn a fee. He didn't do the job. He didn't earn it. But the rest of his statement is, of course, a pack of nonsense. But because it's, you know, it's interesting. If he was so outraged, he should have responded then. Why is it they're responding now?
Mr. Musavi, there is a series of messages between Zafar Ali and yourself. Kavi Musavi to Zafar Ali on 3rd March 2018. my award will be over a billion. If you settle it at that level, I will turn over $100 million to you to set up the operation or do whatever it is they want done to fight corruption. Kavi Musavi to Zafar in 24th of December 2018, you could make some quick retirement money out of this situation. The Kavi Musavi to Zafar on 25th of December, I can get you $2 million immediately if you show NAB that they can overcome the jeopardy they are facing with the continuing saga and get them to ask their lawyers to vacate the hearing on the 31st and instead come into the consented settlement at 50 billion before the 31st, and you and I can then go forward with both Sharif bank account in Singapore and South Africa and Mexico. And then on 25th of December, again, Zafar Ali responds to your message. I have not been formally instructed, Kavi. The Pakistanis are notoriously slow in everything they do. If and indeed, when I am instructed, depending on in which capacity, then I can address the matters you raise. And then again, you to Zafar Ali on 27th of December. There's $2 billion in this for you. Put your thinking cap on. And we will certainly let the press know that the chairman is engaged in high treason when he shows no interest in Sharif money in the bank accounts that I have given you. Put your thinking cap on and you can retire. Zafar, someone is going to ask the question very shortly. Chairman, isn't it the case you were offered the details of Sharif's account in Singapore and did not jump on it? Why not? So these are the messages between Zafar Ali QC and yourself, and obviously now he's saying that you have offered him a cut, which obviously you were saying was a fee in exchange of his services. And then Zafar Ali to yourself on December 28. I'm sure someone will. In the meantime, I'm in Dubai, and on the actual case, the Pakistan, the government have not instructed me yet and may not ever. It is difficult to understand they do not and why they do it, frankly, until and only if I'm instructed. I'm doing, and am I doing to do anything? So these are the messages.
Okay.
So, what do you think of these messages? Uh, Let me complete. Do you think this is an offer, obviously a business deal between you and Zafar Ali QC, because obviously he will be giving you some services and you are offering him in return some money? Or do you think this is kind of a bribe or is a cut? How the people of Pakistan state all this situation, all these messages?
Well, let's take this step by step, shall we? Let's deconstruct it. The first message is in the summer of 2018, and the last one is December. We're talking 6 months, right?
Right.
Six messages over 6 months. I put it to you that this is cherry picking and this is selective with a purpose in mind of trying to put their very best forward. Now let's look at the very best. $2 million fee, collect $1 billion, which is my claim, and to a lawyer, that's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong. You know, in the law, they call this a nothing burger for this reason. It's written 2 years after the events. It's a massive effort of putting a spin on it. Selected 6 messages out of 60 dozen messages. And what are they trying to do? If that's the worst they're saying, well, I say no contest. It's perfectly okay. What's the worst thing that's been said there? That the chairman is committing treason? Well, of course the chairman's committing treason. If I've given him information about $1 billion, he's done nothing about it. That, in my book, is a treason. And you know, that's the whole point of General Amjad, General Musharraf, giving me a contract to go after crooks who are sitting on their hands, who are supposed to be fighting corruption, and they do nothing about that. So what's the big fuss over the issue? I still contend it is treason against the people of Pakistan. If the chairman NAB knows about $1 billion account, he does
And
nothing about
who's
it.
and whose NAB we're talking? Which chairman we're talking?
Whoever it was at that time, things have moved on at that time. But the content of what you're saying to a lawyer is a classic spin. It's conjured up by a PR person, selectively cherry picking in order to paint the worst possible picture of an adversary. In fact, I stand by every single statement that's there, even though it's cherry picked. Frankly, if that's the best they can throw at me, I'm perfectly content with that. I do accuse the chairman now at that time of engaging in no shorter than treason against the people of Pakistan. Zafar Ali, the first question is, who came and found me? Was it me who found Zafar Ali, or was it Zafar Ali who came and found me? He surely cannot deny that I didn't know him from Adam. I had no idea who he was. Dr. Pooks came, he rang me and he said, could you please see this friend of mine in the context of a new government? I said, yes, of course, I'd be happy to see him. Now, they've turned this into something, a conspiracy in London, in Oxford, people sitting together and trying to milk the government of Pakistan. No, not at all. At the time, we had $1 billion claim against the government, and we put it in front of Sir Anthony Evans based on the figures that were produced by the Joint Investigation Team, above board, in front of the Supreme Court of Pakistan. What's the fuss? What's the big idea? Except a spin. I congratulate those smart asses who are trying to fool the people of Pakistan into thinking there's a story here. The real story is the treason of NAB for not having taken up the offer and the information that are given. The story is some two-bit go-between called Zafar Ali desperately coming to find me, seeing me, offering all sorts of things which he clearly was unable to deliver. We're talking about the last text in December. His conversation with me was in the summer. Between the summer and December, he'd achieved nothing. As a matter of record, for the attention of the people of Pakistan, through your camera, I maintain, contrary to what they say in that libelous statement, it was me who broke off the connection with them. It was me who walked out, and I said, you're just wasting my time, completely. If they deny that, I have the evidence to show. The difference between them and the spin masters and I is I reported these issues immediately to our lawyers, and our lawyers immediately reported them to the government of Pakistan. And 2 years after the event, they come with this sort of thing. They come. It's called what the lawyers say is spin after the event. It's self-justification in order to cover themselves, because they know that what they've done is they try to basically, they're a bunch of hustlers. Zafar Ali was a hustler and no more. Forget about this title of a Queen's Counsel or all this sort of thing. Any fool can become a QC in circumstances like this. The reality is he desperately tried to come and find me, and Dr. Pooks at McKinsey arranged for me to meet him at his house, and I did. And I saw this pretentious, pompous guy with a suit, with a smoking a cigar, turning up and talking. And I just said, well, he's got a title of a QC. Let me hear what he has to say. The proof of his failure to deliver is right in front of you in the document you just quoted me. He starts talking in the summer, and in December he delivers nothing.
So, Mr. Musavi, the language used in these are the real messages. Do you have any question on these, the language of these messages, or is all fabricated?
The language I have no problem with at all. You know, I was getting very frustrated because he was constantly promising me. I saw Imran Khan. I saw the Prime Minister. I saw the head of ISI.
So these messages were exchanged. True?
Of course they were. Of course they were.
Right. Okay. So because obviously now he's saying that that you are lying. That's what it says in this news. And what they have shared the information. So, Mr. Musavi, would you go after him? Would you take him to the cleaners? All these three people. One is Barrister Zafar Ali QC, obviously, and then the management consultant, Dr. Kirsten Perks, and the solicitor of the Supreme Court of England and Wales, Shahid Iqbal, because three of them have signatures on this paper.
I put my laundry in cleaning machine. You know, I don't. If there's some value to taking things to cleaners, if I take my laundry to the cleaners, it's because I want to put it on. Two-bit players, I've got no time to. I've got bigger fish to fry, like fighting the government of Iran at the moment. I've got mass murderers I'm trying to arrest. I arrested one in Sweden. I've just exposed another gentleman to the FBI, and he was arrested a few days ago. So I've got serious business. These are just two-bit brokers who try to get in the act because the new government was coming. They thought they'd get in the act of trying to collect a bob or two as a commission. They were unable to deliver. And for the record, I'd say to the people of Pakistan, I broke off the connection. I walked off. It's a complete spin. 2 years later, it's a nothing burger. It's a joke. I go after serious people. I don't go after jokers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Musavi, for your time, sir.
It's my pleasure.